Welcome to another episode of the Headlight Restoration Pro, where I'll be showing you how to take lights that look like this, foggy, scraped up, cracking, and turn them into something that looks a little bit more like this. Crystal clear, beautiful, looking like brand new once again. Now let's get down to business. As you see here, it is not taped yet. We're going to be taking you through this headlight restoration from the beginning to the end, showing you the application or proper application of tape, what to use, what not to use, and also the removal of said tape all the way through, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, as you see here, you generally start from one side. Keep that in mind, and you will see why at the end when I'm removing it. That black plastic piece, it's rare. It comes on about 30% of vehicles, usually the higher end vehicles. It's just a kind of like a pressure seal for the hood to seat against the headlight. Most vehicles don't have it, but if you do have that, you want to remove that. It just clips on by a couple of areas that you can clip on and remove it. You want to take that off before you start, and before you reapply it, you want to make sure your headlight sits for 10-15 minutes and let everything dry before you start messing with that. But anyways, back to the taping. As you see, I start on one side here. And also, as you see, certain areas I'm putting extra amounts of tape, which are the corner areas or any kind of jagged spot that is either sticking out or sucked in. Those particular spots are high points or hot points that are going to be getting beat up a lot more than the regular pieces of tape on the flat spots. Also, as you see, all the taping that I'm doing butted up to the headlight, I scissor through underneath just like that. And I am also putting a minimum of 2 layers of tape on each little segment there, all the way around the light. A flossing, scissoring motion right there. See how I go through there? There's little gaps on most lights. Some lights don't have it, and you got to take your time and butt it up exactly to it, because you do not want the tape to overhang on the light. Because what happens when you go to seal it or you go to work on it, you're going to have a sliver that is not restored, and you're going to have a sliver that is not finished with the sealant, and or it can pull the sealant off when you remove the tape. I've seen it, and I've done it myself a couple times. So I've learned from experience, you want to make sure that this tape is in no way sticking to the light. And you also want to keep light that, like I said, not all lights have the same distance between the bumper and the light. Some of them are snug and tight or butted up to each other, and you want to be more careful removing the tape on those so you're not mess up your finished product. It won't look as good, and it won't last as long. It'll start peeling up. This is why you see at the end I do a full spray around the edges to coat inside the crack, and then I build from that, which you'll see later in the video. Now what you're seeing here is me bringing the tape out further. I like to tape off at least a minimum of 3 inches in each direction, depending on the vehicle and how it is constructed along the bumper and around the light. It all depends. This one here has that flat lip I wanted to take care of. This is for 2 main reasons. The number 1 reason, you do not want to damage the vehicle. Number 2 reason is you want to keep all foreign substances off of that paint, whether it be excess dust or headlight dust and water mixed together. Certain paint jobs can become menacing It'll be hard to remove, and it's just not a good idea. Who knows what it will do to a paint? So I'm really cautious on that, because the number one thing is I don't want to damage and have to pay for somebody's vehicle, or if it's my vehicle, I don't want to have it not be what it is. Even though I can fix everything, I do other things than headlight restoration. But as you see, I'm well out about 4 inches on this light. As you see there, once again, a credit card comes in extremely handy. Most people over 18 get fake credit cards in the mail or advertisements. Hey, this could be yours or whatever. Use those ones. Do not use your real ones. You can mess those up and you'll just have to get new ones. But to each its own. But anyways, now that taping is complete, getting my Ryobi 18 volt drill handy. Has 2 settings on it. One setting is from 0 to 450, and the other is from about 0 to 1700. As you see some of the stats here, they sell this particular drill on Amazon for very good pricing. Not paid to say that. I just do most of my business on Amazon. It's a great platform to get whatever you need. Starting with my gold sanding disc, a P500. See how it's snug evenly all the way around there. You don't want to have it lopsided, like hanging off one side more than the other. This can be potentially dangerous because it has a sawing motion when it comes to the tape. That's one of the tape's weaknesses. So you want to have it even all the way around. And I generally start from the inside corner here. As you notice here, as I said, there's 2 speeds. This particular one has a real choppy surface, so I'm starting with the slower speed that is about 0 to 450, as I said. It's more of a grinding motion that way. It'll also preserve the life of your disc. Me being in a professional setting, I don't really care too much about that, because I want my disc to be working pretty much like round one, like a boxer fights in round one. I want it to fresh as it is. I want it to perform the best that it can possibly be, and that's fresh out the gate. So generally I use the other setting, and it does produce more heat, and it does burn through the pads or the discs a lot faster. But being this type of headlight surface, you have to be able to adapt to different situations. This one was really hard, really choppy, really grainy, so I decided to go over it first with this low setting, which is a lot of torque and a lot of grinding motion. As you see there, I keep tapping the pad or the disc there, just measuring the heat, checking to see how hot the tip is. Here's another nice handy thing I picked up. I've always had it. I like to use my big one more because it has more pressure. I left that at home today, traveling light. So I have my handheld computer duster or keyboard duster there, which they sell on Amazon as well. It was about $80. It's rechargeable, and it blows just about as hard as a can duster. Very handy, small, and it projects a more focused stream of air for dusting. Now, if you haven't noticed, I am working on the high setting, and an explanation real quick of why it says 0 to 400 or 0 to 1700 is because you can feather the trigger to go different speeds. It's all about how you hold it. There's about maybe a half an inch or so, or 3/4 of an inch play within the trigger. If you hold it just a hair, it'll go so fast. If you hold it deeper, halfway, maybe it'll be about 1200 RPM. If you hold it all the way down, it'll be 1700 RPM. Okay, so wanted you to pay attention to a certain area that I noticed before starting this light, that I let the person know, hey, you have a defect in your light. About 98% sure. I've dealt with this before, and I just want you to know that it's probably not going to come out in this area right here. They have what they call headlight burn, or HID burn, LED burn. Sometimes the lights get so hot over years, it just pretty much slowly burns an impression into it on the inside of the light that you cannot remove. And being that this vehicle is a 2007, it's been something that's been there for a long time and developing for a long time. But you can make these headlights look amazing and brand new for the most part, but you can only work with what you are given. You cannot turn, poo into diamonds. You can only, make things better. These are fairly good lights. This one particular light had a lot of damage. That's why I went on the slow setting. And this is the second P500 pad that I'm using, just to make sure I get all of this surface damage that was here on this light off completely. But like I said, pay attention to this section. Once again, to notice the difference when we get to the end piece where you can clearly see it. Easy, smooth, clear strokes, mild pressure. We're not, hankering down on this. We're just using pretty much the pressure of the drill. Some cases I use even less pressure, just like resting on the surface and letting the disc do all of the work. If you didn't notice, this is the P800 sanding disc, the white sanding disc. This is the cleanup crew, the finesse disc. Being that you're using a more brutal or abrasive disc on that first step, you're going to have this one is pretty much removing some of the damage and smoothing it out more, or getting it closer to bridge the link and the smoothing out process and swirl and scratch delete process. This one does a real good job at that. This is the second to most expensive pad here. If you're buying in bulk, generally it's about $45 a box for one of these, and you get about 40 or 50 of those in there. So they're roughly near $1 a piece. So they're kind of expensive compared to the gold disc, which is probably about 20-30 cents a piece. So you want to get your money out of this one here. As you see here, I am doing long shearing strokes here with the same P800 pad. See those horizontal lines? No more swirls. Those are actually very minute divots. That were swirls and sporadic scratches turned into uniformed horizontal scratches. So what I call swirl delete. This pad here, the interface pad, is just a pad that goes between the gimbal or your drill bit to give it a spongy surface. Because if you're just doing these steps on a round light with something that is hard as a board, you're just not hitting the light correctly. You need something to bend and create pressure against the light, and to make sure that it's touching every end of the light. See, I have one there at the end of the drill as well, and some lights that have ridiculous curves and sharp curves, I'll even double it up, which is, think about if you had a flat board and you held it against the light, how much the light would that board be touching? Now, metaphorically, think about holding a pillow up to the light and pushing. How much of the surface would it be touching? How much of the light surface would be being touched by the pillow? It's the same concept when you're going around these curves, like right there, or the curves at the top. And this is pretty bland light. There's some lights that have so many curves, like an Ultima. It's built like a shark tooth that have so many different curves and bends that you would have to have one to do the proper job. But nevertheless, that is what those are good for. In my opinion, it's a must-have if you're going to be doing different headlight restorations. Right here, we got some regular household glass cleaner. You can use either or, the foaming or this kind of glass cleaner. I prefer And in my experience, it's better that you use the liquid. As you see, it's pulling all of those saturates, oils and dusts and stuff down to the bottom of the headlight, which is helping you do your job. And it helps lift it up and pull it down. The foam kind of just pulls it up, and then when you wipe it off, it's still, it's a little residuey. So you have to work a little bit harder. This is a lot better with this Windex or glass cleaner. See there, the light has gotten hazy, it's dehydrated. So now we're going to start this next step here with our 12 volt polisher and our 3-inch finessed 3M orange pad, using the dab method with our plastic polisher. Any plastic polisher will do. Any polisher, 12 volt polisher will do. I see some crazy stuff on the internet, and I see some crazy stuff that other businesses using. They'll use a 6 and 7, 8-inch polisher for this, and it's like, I just can't believe it. It's almost like, I don't know, taking your dog to Quick Quack or car wash instead of washing him in a bathtub or something. It's just like overkill, and it's too big and it won't work correctly. 3-inch is optimal for headlights. It helps, and you can damn near touch every part of the headlight with any kind of 3-inch. Some parts I do have, but it's really rare that I use a 2-inch tip. With these, you can change the actual tip there to different sizes, 1-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch, but it's so rare that I do it. 3-inch is pretty much universal, and it touches everything you need to touch. I couldn't imagine trying to do this. I'm sure I could, but it would just be painstaking to do this with a 6-inch or 7 or 8-inch. It's just crazy. It's overkill. And I don't even know how, or you couldn't. It's physically impossible to touch every part of the light that you need. But the polishing is done. Look how pretty that is already. Dusting it off, wiping it off. As I said, I'll return to that HID LED burn. Now that the light is super duper clear, and it's still not done, we still have another step. As you see there in the middle, that's that HID burn. It's just something that happens. A lot of people get these aftermarket HIDs, and even LEDs will do it after a certain amount of time, because that orb there in the middle gets so hot it just slowly burns, like melts the inside of that headlight, and there's just nothing you can really do about it. It would be so painstaking to try to take a light apart, which is pretty much sandwiched with this incredibly hard sealant. To take it apart, I've seen somebody try. It's 99% ineffective. Time is money, and it would literally take you 4 hours to do it correctly. Before this next step here, you want to make sure that you have a mask, preferably a proper mask. Right here, this is a 3M mask with a 3M pink cartridge. It blocks out vapor. Dust is one thing. Getting dust in your lungs wouldn't be good either throughout the other steps, but sometimes I use a regular mask. But this step here, you want to be real careful, especially with the spray cans. That's one of the downfall of the spray cans. It pumps out a lot of vapor around you. You can see clouds sometimes. It's a real directional tip. Look at that tip right there. That's what's so good here about these Meguiar cans. The best part about it is their tip. It's real comparable and similar to other spray UVs that are designed for headlight restoration, but their tip is really sweet. But yeah, always mask up on this part, because you will feel it when you are done, especially if you're doing multiple headlights. You want to live long and strong. Don't mess your lungs up. This stuff dries in about a minute and a half. Dries to the touch in about 4 minutes. So this is pretty much what you get. But as you see right there, let me take a stop real quick and show you a couple images of what I'm talking about. Here are a couple images of that LED HID headlight burn. It happens with both, but you see there, it's inside. It's just like a burn, and 99% of the time it's going to be inside or right in front of the headlight, or right in front of the light that caused it. No way around it. It's just something that they haven't figured out how to get around. Yeah, it's all right there. See it? Looks like a scuff. Looks like a burn. That's not me. I did my job. As you see, other than that, they are perfect and beautiful. And sometimes I think that gives a little bit of character on these older cars, like a little beauty mark or something. But anyways, as promised, I'm giving you the whole walkthrough. And although it takes a couple minutes, maybe 8-10 minutes to tape the vehicle off, it takes about 1 minute to take the tape off. And if you do it the way I do, always overlapping tape, always overlapping segments of tape, whatever length segment it is, overlap it in one direction. It pulls right off like this. Might have a couple stragglers or strays, but literally like 30 seconds to a minute, pulls right off. Voila. Once again, there's the finished product. I appreciate your viewing. If you would like to see more amazing facts about headlight restoration and more things to come in the future having to do with headlight restoration, and you like this channel, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.